I'm going to win. And you'll never outwork me. Never. And I was always Barry's son. Like, that's what people knew me as. I want to be better than him. I want the company to be 10 times bigger under my, tutelage than his. And I would say to my dad, things are tough at the moment. I'm not very happy. And he'd say, shut up. He would say, look how much money you got. It's like, Dad, that's not the answer. But that was my upbringing. It was like, son, win. Like, fuck everybody else. Win, win, win.
What's the cost of the success?
I used to think that success was the size of your pay packet, right? The holidays that you could go on, the house that you live in, the business that you run. It's actually not at all. There'll be people that are walking up and down this beach who just have 9 to 5s. They could be more successful than me. You don't get to decide what start you have. You get to decide how you finish. I love these interviews because they're so much different to what I do normally. I feel like this is a therapy session because I'm learning about myself, even talking to you.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Keegan Company Podcast. Special episode today. Matchroom Boxing has landed here in Australia, and in this episode, we are talking to the great sports promoter, Eddie Hearn. We talk about the reality of growing up in his father's shadow and how that drove him to be one of the biggest and best sporting promoters in the world. We talk about drive, we talk about hard work and what it actually takes to be great in whatever you really truly want to do. We also talk about why he's here on the Gold Coast, promoting Matchroom Boxing, available to watch exclusively on Kayo. If you enjoy this podcast or if you've enjoyed any of our other podcasts, can I get you to hit that little subscribe button? It lets us grow the show and have incredible conversations like I have today. Enjoy the episode. Eddie Hearn, welcome to the podcast, brother. What are you doing here on the Gold Coast?
So we have a big fight night with Fox and Kayo Sports Wednesday night. Star Casino, Teremoana is our big heavyweight star from Australia, Michael Zerafa. So much more. We did a new deal with Foxtel for 7 shows a year. So 40 shows a year we do globally in boxing, and 7 of those are now going to be here in Australia.
And does that mean you get to spend more time here in Australia?
Yeah, I mean, I like to always go to every show. It is taxing on the sort of body because we do a show a week, really. So it's like we go from here back to London, back to New York, back to Ireland, back to Saudi Arabia. So, but listen, you can't complain. I mean,
if there was a place to work, I'm sure this might be.
Yeah, I never thought I'd be doing an interview or a podcast on a beach.
Well, so, mate, we're happy
what a time to be alive.
We're happy to have you here, dude. Over the next couple of days, probably when you spend time here in Australia, we'll be talking a lot about boxing. They'll be talking a lot about fighting and the promotion. But today, I would love to get to know you a little bit more. I mean, just talking on the run before, it's really interesting hearing your perspective about high performance, working hard, balancing family and training, but then also balancing the stress. How do you take care of yourself when things are so stressful and when when you've got so much going on?
I think a lot of the time is putting yourself in the right environment. So for me, when I'm traveling, I have to be training because it's become a non-negotiable in my life. Because I think, quite a few years back, I was a little bit overweight. I wasn't drinking a lot, but I was drinking. I was going out and it was all building up. And like, I look back at pictures of myself probably 5-6 years ago. I actually don't recognize that person because I've just made it a priority, probably even over work now, which I never thought I'd do.
What changed?
I just think that I wanted to feel better. We joked when I did a men's health shoot, which was like another thing. I did a cover shoot and it was like, when am I ever going to do a men's health? I used to joke about things like that. And it was like, but they said to me, why are you doing this? I'm like, I'm doing it to get an edge, to be able to perform better and to go harder in business. But I also want to wake up in the morning in my pants, look in the mirror and go, you look good. And they're like, oh, do you want us to put that in? I'm like, yeah, that's the truth.
I think sometimes we need a little bit of vanity in there,
but let's just be real. Like, maybe it's just me, but I feel if I look good and I feel good, and I don't want to be traveling around feeling lethargic or slow or overweight. And for me, probably since the age of 15, I've always had a battle with my weight, probably more than anything. I've always been a big guy, but it's a game to me. Like this, I was brought up around sport and everything's about winning, but everything's like, if you're not playing sport, business can be about winning. Your weight can be about winning. Everything's a game. So I'll get on the scales in the morning and I might be like, fuck, damn. And then 2 days later, yes. And it's like that. It's just, And the other thing we talked about in the run, everyone's different. So you're not going to listen to me and go, I'm not going to tell you this is how you should live your life. But as you get older, you realize it's got to work for me. Like you can read books, you can watch podcasts, you can listen to people, and you can take little bits and pieces. But what works for you might not work for me.
What I really loved on our run when you were breaking it down, like the fitness and the training and your overall wellness and how you look at it, it's all for high performance.
Yeah.
It's so that you can perform and have the ability to be able to deal with these stresses. Yes, we want to look good and do those things. I think that's a part of it. But what I really liked is the high performance piece. What are you doing specifically that gives you the edge or gives you the 20%?
Yeah, well,
what
the
are
edge,
those things?
What you said, the key word there is the edge. So if there's any opportunity in life to get an edge, to be better, like you should try and take it. I think that the key with health and fitness and well-being is there is nobody who works out and trains who hasn't improved their life doing so.
Sure.
Like unquestionable.
Yeah.
So therefore, in that respect, that is a must, right? That's a non-negotiable. But for me, like those little edges come in so many different ways.
Yeah.
Could be across nutrition, but especially across sleep, definitely across training. Like all these different things that are making me, like I fly in here, I land after 24 hours of traveling, straight to the press conference, straight for hours of media, then for a business dinner last night. And then, so it's like, you can't do those things unless in those downtimes or other times, you're getting your naps, you're getting your cold plunger, your hyperbaric chamber, anything that can give me not 20%, 0.5%.
Yeah.
Like that's the fact.
How have you looked at yourself from 5-10 years ago when you didn't have that awareness to now? What's changed mentally and physically?
Well, I just think as you get older, you kind of look at yourself and you just can't do it in the same way. Like I would go out when I was younger on a Friday, Saturday and Sunday. I'd have a good drink, and a party with my mates. Monday, sweet.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And as you get into your 30s, your late 30s, your early 40s, it's like that recovery takes 4 or 5 days. I can't afford to wake up Monday and not be on it. I can't afford to wake up Sunday and not be on it. So you cut all that stuff out of your life. And actually, when you do it, like the not drinking stuff, and I'm never a preacher of like, oh, I don't drink. Do you know what I mean? But it just makes me feel so much better. Don't get me wrong. In my youth, your age, I loved it. I was out all the time. But you just have to adapt as you get older. And like I said, when we were on our run, you were telling me, your age and what's going on in your life. And I was like, I remember those times well. Yeah. And I also remember that I didn't have a clue at that age. Yeah. You're a lot more aware now. People are a lot more clued up about life. But back then, I was like just winging it.
You said that it took to you about 40 years old before you really understood yourself.
Still understand. I think that's the one of the biggest things I've found is, I don't think you ever really find yourself or find the answer. Yeah. Completely. I look at my dad, he's 78. I think he's found the answer. Yeah. He seems to be living his life in a way of like, I'm so happy. I've had such a great life. And I look at that quite envious thinking, I want to get like that one day. Yeah. Be a great place to be where you go, what a life. Like I know that if he passed now, he would go, I'm good. Yeah. Thank you very much. See you everybody. What a life. That's a great way to live your life.
What do you think the answers are? What do you think works?
I think you have to understand yourself. I think, like we said, I think people are too kind of obsessed with following and, like I said, I think it's great to listen to podcasts. I mean, it's great to follow gurus, pick up this, that, but it's just, there's no universal rule. Yeah. You are you and you are one of one. Right. And that's fact. And what I've learned is it hasn't got to work for everybody. People might think you're weird. People might think that's ridiculous that you're doing it. But if it works for you, that's how it's got to be. Yeah. And I think the selfishness as well, like my dad's a very selfish man and I'm selfish as well. But I think you have to have a little bit of that. Yeah. Like you can still be a good person. You can still give to others, but you really got to look after yourself and your mind and your goals.
What I've been picking up from our run this morning and consuming your content over the last couple of days is that you're a very, very authentic guy. Like what you see is what you get. And even on the run, you said, I'm more than happy to have a conversation and speak my mind. If people don't like it, then that's just the way it is. Yeah. And I really respect that. How Has that always been the case?
No, I think that comes with age as well.
Yeah.
Like, I think you don't, I think when you look back over time, I'm quite an outspoken character, got quite a loud personality, but I was probably a little bit insecure growing up. My dad was very successful. He was quite well known, very kind of, not necessarily powerful, but big personality, right? So I had big shoes to fill in that respect. And I think probably looking back at my childhood, and I was always living in his shadow a little bit, and I wanted to like be my own man and try and make my own success and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then again, just it's time really where you just become a lot more comfortable in yourself.
Yeah.
I don't really care. Like, I've got nothing. I think being able to not lie is a really comforting thing. And, and like maybe in the past you might want to act like this but again, it just comes with age where you just, it's being comfortable in yourself. And I think when you become comfortable in yourself, it's a lot easier to speak your mind or speak your truth because it's natural.
Man, I really love that. But I imagine you probably could have gone two ways though, right? With your old boy being very outspoken and a personality, you could have fallen in the sense of, or fallen in the trap of, oh, I'm just going to do what he's doing, or I'm going to put on a bit of a persona.
Yeah.
But from what you're saying, is just like you took the latter and went, nah, I'm just going to speak my mind and think that. Because I imagine someone could go either way, you know what I mean?
It's quite well known in the UK that sort of my dad is a successful guy. When I was born, he came from nothing.
Yeah.
When I was born, he was making money, not where we are now as a family, but like I had a good upbringing.
Yeah.
So, but I was always, he's called Barry Hearn, and I was always Barry's son. Like that's what people knew me as.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it was like, because we competed in my childhood, the whole thing has been a competition. So like, I want to be better than him. I want the company to be 10 times bigger under my, tutelage than his. Yeah. So it's like, but I needed to outperform that. And in life, sometimes, you always have to play the cards you're dealt. I was dealt that I was born into quite a successful family. So I didn't have to make it from nothing, but I had to do it another way, which was trying to outperform a successful father, which is actually, that has its own challenges as well. It's in a different way.
Completely, because I imagine there'd probably be people like, oh, well, you've got such a head start.
Yeah, exactly. You've been given it. And by the way, I had a great start.
100%.
No doubt. I mean, and probably when I was younger, I would say, no, it's been really tough for me. Like, of course it is, because you've got to be better than someone that's very good. Yeah. But of course I had a good start. Like but you don't get to decide what start you have. You get to decide how you finish.
What was the biggest challenge growing up?
Probably being in his shadow. Like, oh, you don't have to work. You're all right. You can just go and work for your dad, But I wanted to be the best. I didn't want to be just this guy's son that did well because they had a good business. I wanted to say, well, Dad, you took the business here. I want to take it to here. Yeah. And that's on me.
Mate, that's a really interesting concept, because it's like you could have taken the other way. You were like, oh, I'm pretty relaxed here, Dad. Thanks for setting us up. But on this podcast, and what we like to talk about is very much psychology, very much mental health, but also the high performance. How do we take someone from a +4 to a +8, +9? How do we live a life where we're thriving and we're striving? We've got that little thing in us that gives us that drive. And it looks like you've got that drive. Like, you obviously do. You've had the childhood, you've had the upbringing that's fostered that. What do you think is that little thing that gives you that drive? Like, I'm thinking for the people who are listening, and where can I find that?
I think,
if I wasn't born with it, is that something that I can build?
I do think there's an element of being. I don't know if born with it's really a thing or not. I don't know. Yeah. How can you be born with wanting to win? Yeah. Or are you nurtured that way? I mean, a lot of people would think that my upbringing was quite weird in the way of drummed with money, drummed with winning. Yeah. Like I said to you on the run, like, you live in this modern day society now, it's all about expressing your feelings. And, I think we are soft as a society. I don't think we shouldn't express our feelings, but we're definitely soft as a society. Yeah. And I would say to my dad, I told you the story, oh, Dad, things are tough at the moment. I'm not very happy. Yeah. And he'd say, shut up. He would say, look how much money you got. It's like, Dad, that's not the answer. But that was my upbringing. It was like, son, win. Like, fuck everybody else, win. And I'm thankful for that upbringing, I'm a bit softer with my kids now, for sure, especially as I had 2 girls. Yeah. So it's like, I think it's a little bit of a different mentality, but like, I think it really comes from a passion for what you do,
right,
and how bad you want it, and what it means to you. Like if you're in a job that doesn't really mean anything to you, if you're in a job that you're just bothered about, getting your 9 to 5 done, paying the bills, going through life. This is what I'm saying. Like I used to think that success was the size of your pay packet, right? The holidays that you could go on, the house that you live in, the business that you run. It's actually not at all. There'll be people that are walking up and down this beach who just have 9 to 5s. They can be super successful because that's why I go back to the individualistic interpretation of success. Just because how you view success doesn't mean that has to be success to me. And how I view success, I used to think that someone who worked on a 9 to 5 and just about had enough money to pay his bills, you can't say they're successful. That's not true. They could be more successful than me. If they wake up in the morning and have a fullness in their heart and walk up and down this beach and go, I'll tell you what, I love life. How good is life? The same person that's making billions could be walking up and down this beach going, I've had enough. I've had enough. I'm not happy. So everything is down to the individual.
Has your version of success changed from when you were younger to now?
Massively. Because like I said, back then it was like, how much money can we make? How big's your house? Where can you go on holiday? Can you fly on a jet? And it's just bullshit. Like, don't get me wrong. They're the perks that come with the rewards of the passion that you have. But if you're not into that, it's not success, is it? If you don't want to be on that plane, if you don't want to be in that villa, if you don't want to be on that holiday, it's not success, is it? Some people might say, I don't want to spend time away from my family. I just want a normal job where I can have dinner every night with my family at 6 p.m. Now, that's not me because I want to fucking win and I want to take on the world and I want to be the very best in my industry. But that's okay. If you don't want to do that, you ain't a loser. You're not unsuccessful, So it's just, you have to understand you. That's the most important thing.
I was going to say, what does success look like for you right now?
Success for me looks like winning still. Like I want to be the best at what I do. I want to beat everyone. I want to destroy everybody in my game. And that's something that people might go, but there's definitely an element of, I want to feel like, I don't want to feel like shit. I don't want to feel empty. I don't want to feel like, why am I doing this? I don't want to spend too much time away from my kids. But there's you can't do it all. You have to understand what is important. The selfishness, which we talked about on the run and stuff like that, there's no easy answer. If you want to be the best at what you do, you have to be unbelievably selfish. Now, particularly in sport, you know that as well. Like you look at these high performers in sport, mate, they're ruthless. I had a podcast series. Everyone I sat down with, the top guys, they're like, I get home, I go, say to the missus and the kids or whatever, sorry, I need to go and do my recovery. Yeah. See you in 2 hours. Lay there, don't come in, don't bother me. Like this. Yeah. But there's no happy medium. If you want to be the best, you have to make sacrifices.
What's the cost of the success?
Well, I think not being able to do the things that other people might find. I mean, being a father is very important to me, but I also know I've been the best father I can be, whilst also allowing myself to chase my own dreams and the importance of things to me as an individual. So I've spent loads of times away from my kids, just like my father did with me. Now, I understood, and particularly now, the sacrifices that he made to get his family, and that included me, in the position we are today. And I'm doing the same for my kids as well. But I'm also not going to lie and say I'm doing it all to set up the future for my kids. I'm doing a lot of it for myself because it's important to me. And I don't want to live a life that's fulfillment to me. Yeah. And I need to be fulfilled. Yeah. And what gives me fulfillment is winning. Right, wrong, doesn't matter. It's me. Right? So if fulfillment for you is just not worrying about the job, not worrying about being the best, not worrying about winning. I just want to be at home with my kids, with my family. Good for you. Right? For me, I want that. Don't get me wrong. I want to bring my kids up. I want to enjoy my time with them, but I want to win. And it's balance. It's not easy.
This is such a topical conversation because literally yesterday we recorded a solo episode podcast around the psychology of obsession. I'm fascinated with high performance. I think growing up, I loved reading books on Tyson and Michael Jordan and Steve Jobs and these really extreme and high performers. And
all people that are obsessed, by the way.
All people that are obsessed. All people that are obsessed. And I look at these guys and we idolize them, right? We potentially want to be them growing up. And sometimes we embed those ideologies into our own lives. And I've fallen into that category when I was playing pro footy. And we're obsessed with these guys. And then I look at that and I was like, yeah, that's incredible for these people. But what about the other people that you mentioned that want to have a bit more balance, that prioritize family? And I was almost battling with the grips. I'm like, well, what's the right answer? And I think you nailed it perfectly where it's like, it's not a one size fits all. No. It's almost like a spectrum and whatever you're comfortable with and wherever your priorities are, that's okay. And understanding that you have a choice. And when you said, I was like, I think that hits the nail on the head, dude.
It's you.
Yeah.
There's no, like, I think the worst thing that anyone can do is sit here like me and say, guys, what you need to do is no. What you need to do is what works for you. If you can take one snippet from this podcast or listening to, I don't know, some major players like Jordan and Kobe Bryant and Steve Jobs, like, great. I listen to those things. Those guys are, especially Jordans, and they're massively inspirational. Yeah. But it's the same mindset. Yeah. It's like, I'm going to be a relentless motherfucker. I'm going to work myself to the bone and I'm going to win and no one's going to stop me. All those people you mentioned, I put myself in that. I don't put myself in that category, but I put myself in that mindset. Sure. Exactly the same. Yeah. I'm going to win and you'll never outwork me. Never. That's the one thing. I'm not saying I'm a genius. I've done okay at school, but there is no one in my industry that works harder. You will not. I won't allow it. That's something that you can control. I can't control how smart I am. I can't control whether I make the right decisions all the time, but I can control how hard I work. And I can control the things around that will enable myself to work as hard as I can. Gotcha. And that's, but like I said, like the key is, I love these interviews because they're so much different to what I do normally. And I feel like it's a therapy session. Yeah. You know what I mean? So we're having this. Yeah. I feel like this is a therapy session because I'm learning about myself, even talking to you. Right? And I'm actually, what I said to you about finding yourself and how long it takes. I don't think, you're 29, right? I'm 47. Have I found myself? Probably not. Like, have I got it? Have I really understood? No, but I'm a hell of a lot closer than I was at 29.
Well, mate, that's why we love having these conversations. Is because me, you, the audience, people who are listening, are almost like finding these little tools or these little thought patterns where it's like, well, what are they doing that I want to adopt into my own life? There might be someone sitting there battling like, I fucking love this thing that I'm chasing. I've got this drive, but I've kind of got this little bit of guilt. Yeah. I don't know what season of life I'm in. Should I be going for it or should I be pulling back? And they might be trying to find the answer. They might hear you talking. It was like, well, this season is a time for me to go for it.
My advice on that would be, if it really means enough to you, you will go get it. Do you know what I mean? If you're doubting what it means to you or how much you want it, maybe it's not for you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because I think if you really, really want it, there ain't no stopping you. Yeah. Like that. And by the way, some days are hard. Some days you haven't got the energy to chase it. Some days you question yourself. Yeah. But overall, if you want something bad enough, you'll do what you can.
Do you ever struggle with motivation or discipline at all?
Yeah, loads. I mean, the key word for me, always, the biggest tool, the biggest asset is consistency. Consistency over everything.
What do you mean?
Doing the right things time and time again. If you consistently do that, you will win. Yeah. Like, you can't decide. We talked earlier about the hand that you're dealt or the rubber to green you get. Like, you don't get to decide when that comes. You don't get to decide how many bangs on the door it takes till it goes over. Sure. Might take one. Yeah. Might take 1,000. But if you keep banging on the door, it will go over. And too many people, there's too much like kind of, I never get the chance. Oh, some people are so lucky. And I think luck's just something that comes and goes. If you do the right things consistently and you work as hard as you can and you love what you do, I promise you, you will get it. You will. I can't tell you when it'll come. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you will get it. And that's what I found over time. The consistency of doing the right things, it's unbreakable.
Do you find that it might not come straight away?
Of course.
Like it might
take
a couple of years to get there.
It's not supposed to come straight away.
Yeah.
If you want something bad enough and it's hard to get and it's hard to achieve, it should be tough. Like very unusually will you just go out, start working hard, and in the first week you've smashed it, and it's like, by the way, that can happen.
Yeah.
And then maybe a couple of months later, it all comes crashing down. That's just designed to test you.
Yeah.
But that's, this is the roller coaster of life. It's the line of consistency through the ups and downs that will enable you to keep going. That is the one thing. And that's the same, like, in your fitness, the consistency. Like all of a sudden, I've done it recently. 2 weeks, I've kind of had no show. I've gone away. I haven't eaten very well. I've stopped training. I know I'm down here again. That was why our little run today was nice. It was easy, but it just enables me. I'll go again tomorrow.
Yeah.
And let's get back. Because, by the way, you can't also be deluded enough to think that consistency is a perfect line.
Yeah.
Come on. Like, some days you're down, sometimes you're not motivated, sometimes you're tired. But it's actually getting back. It's getting back on the horse.
Yeah.
And you feel your best when you're on the horse.
100%.
Same with the gym.
Yeah.
Like, when you're firing in the gym and you're fit, you go more.
Yeah.
And when you're not, you don't want to go.
You mentioned those times of, yes, we can be on a high, but then sometimes we might have those challenges, we might have those struggles. Has there been any challenges or struggles that you didn't think you could overcome, but then you did overcome eventually through consistency, through whatever it might be?
Maybe. I mean, I think that sort of in the job particularly, like, I think you get disappointments. You could build up to a big event, a fighter gets injured, it all comes crashing down, you lose money, you're disappointed, so I think that it's more of an understanding of, like, I always think that, there's some great lines. People always say about, they're not losses, they're lessons, like all this kind of stuff. I get all that kind of thing. But also I think my favourite saying is probably, this too shall pass, which is quite a interesting saying. And a lot of people think that's about the bad times. People think that this too shall pass is like, when things are bad, don't worry. It's okay. This too shall pass. It's actually not designed that way. It's actually to talk about both sides, right? So the humbleness of when you're flying, to know, don't worry, this too shall pass. And I've learned over time, like, and this might be a weakness, I don't know, but it's just how I keep myself focused when I'm flying and when things are, like, just on another level in terms of the shows, the success, this too shall pass. Don't worry. It's coming. It's coming. People go, you shouldn't think like that. I go, no, but I've been around long enough to know it's coming. And then boom, something comes. There's a disaster and you're back down here. Don't worry. This too shall pass. And it's like, for me, you have to understand that that's life. Like, was it never let defeat get to your heart and never let success get to your head. Something along those lines of it. I don't know the exact saying, but that's the same kind of thing. Like,
and heavily backed up by science and the literature.
Yeah.
There's I'm studying psychology at the moment. I'm almost finished, and understanding that we all have like a happiness baseline, and everyone's baseline is a little bit different. But when we are on a high, with time, we will resort back to our baseline.
Yeah.
But also, what I thought was really cool when I started learning about it was when we have a really hard thing that happens, whether it might be, the fighter drops out last minute, whether we lose a loved one, whether we have a relationship breakdown, whatever that really hard thing might be, understanding that with time we will revert back to our baseline. Yeah. It's a beautiful awareness to have.
That's along the same lines as well of this too shall. Like, it's just
100%.
But it's like just knowing that, and you should always enjoy your success, by the way. You should, though. That's something where I am maybe weak at, and a lot of those high performers that I spoke to said the same thing.
Yeah.
When I got here, I actually felt quite empty. Like, I won a Champions League or I won Olympic gold.
Yeah.
And I was like, by the way, in the moment, yes, I've done it. And then, like, went back to the hotel and I was like, Like almost like, what's next? And I don't know if that's healthy. This is what they were saying. They all said the same thing. And I said, no, it's just because you're a winner. And it's like, you just want to keep pushing the boundaries. By the way, it's not healthy. But that's you. Like, you're like, what's next? What's next? That was the goal. Done it. What's next? And that's, that's probably a little bit more of an unhealthy side where and I've been trying when you hit those moments just to enjoy it a little bit more and actually sit back and go, fucking great, wow. Because that's something I probably struggle with a little bit. I'm like, right, we've done that. Let's go. What's next?
I look at a few guys that I really looked up to in the NRL, in the professional rugby league space, and at the end of their career, they would always, at the end of a game, when they win or whether they lost, they would sit in the dressing sheds having a beer with the boys, and they'd be like, present and really take it in because they're like, I don't know how many more times, how many more wins I might have. Even after a grand final, typically we sit in the sheds in the stadium till 1 a.m, just having drinks with our mates. Because how often does that happen? How often do these really highlight? So the ability to be able to really be present and sit with it,
like people like Jordan. I don't think they did that. I think he went straight home.
Fuck, really?
Don't you think? Don't get me wrong. I'm sure he was in the change room, but in his head, he's like, right, I need, like, I think that the top percentile are just a little bit, they're a little bit weird. In the head.
I think you have to be.
You do. Yeah. But I'm talking about the top. I'm like, listen, the team, we're here. And I'm sure he was like that, but I bet he went home. And I bet when a few of them went, right, where are we going? He went, not for me, lads.
Interesting.
I'll see you in the practice court tomorrow morning. And went home and got his 10 hours.
Out of all the people that you've met and the people that you've interviewed, who's someone that's really impressed you? Or has there been a lesson that you've really taken out that you've really enjoyed and you've adopted maybe into your own life?
Yeah, I think that a lot of those guys like Mo Farah, won double Olympic gold, Frank Lampard, who's a soccer player I went to school with actually. A lot of those guys who I spoke to, what I just said, that like it was identical. They all said the same thing. And they're all like the best at what they do and in their field. So I think, like I said, taking little bits from, there was a swimmer called Adam Peaty. It's Olympic, I think he's Olympic champion. And I did an interview with him, and I've never interviewed a more obsessed person with winning. And he was, when I said earlier about the guy who got home and said to his family, leave me alone, I need to go and do it. He was that was him,
that was the
right?
guy.
And actually, about a year after that interview, or even less, he actually come out and sort of said, I've been struggling with depression. He took time out of sport because he actually became too obsessed with it. And another guy as well, Mark Cavendish, the cyclist who sort of won Tour de France's, same thing. He actually went through a really tough bout of mental health and depression where he was so obsessive. He said, I remember he said to me in an interview, he goes, I got to a point where I opened a drawer to get a spoon for my coffee and there was no spoon. And I just sort of started banging the drawer saying, why is there no spoon? And he said, my wife said to me, whoa. Like what?
Something's
and then
up.
he went away, and it's like, that level, it ain't easy. Like
it makes me think like the cost of sitting in that really extreme end. Like
it comes back to, like I said, how much do you want it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And the cost of wanting it, like it's, but you can't, unfortunately, it don't work like that.
Yeah.
You can't be the best at what you do without having that little edge and being a little bit tapped where you're like, I'm sorry, but and that comes with cost, but it also comes with legacy. And it's like, if you want to go down as a true great, like in any position, true great, 9 to 5. Life's not easy. You're never going to get it perfect. There's always going to be something. Forget the perfect life, right? Oh, I've got the perfect life. Shut up. You haven't, because deep down, you're chasing something, or something's not right, or you actually didn't really achieve what you wanted to achieve. And by the way, when you have everything, you can't do this, and you can't do that, and life's hard, and people are looking at you, and people are chasing you down. Look at, I don't know, who was I looking at the other day? Justin Bieber. I was looking at him on holiday. Mate, what? He's got SUVs, boats, chasing him around, sticking camera. What sort of life's that?
Yeah.
But by the way, when he started, it's all he ever dreamed of.
Yeah.
You know? Nothing's perfect.
At the end of the day, when everything is said and done, what do you think will be the things that you're most proud of?
It's a good question. I think definitely, like on a personal level, from a sort of business level, I want people to say, he was a tenacious motherfucker, he was. Wow. He was tough to beat. Do you know what I mean? From a personal level, I think you want people to say he was a good person. You know, we know he was driven and he was a little bit tapped sometimes, but he had a good heart.
Yeah.
And I think the ability to help people, you know, as I get older and as you kind of acquire more wealth, the ability to change people's lives for something that might not mean a great deal to you, that's a wonderful feeling. And by the way, that could be a selfish thing as well. That's okay. People's like, to give to people is an amazing thing, to be able to see someone change their life in a small way. And by the way, it does make you feel great yourself. You don't do it for that reason, but it just comes with it as well. But like, I think giving back, you know, I used to be a money collector because that was how I was built. I used to count. My dad would give me coins, and I'd always, he'd go, how many coins you got? What you got? How much? And I'd write it all down. Yeah. Oh, I'm up to this. I'm up to this. And it's like that, but that's just a game. But actually, as you, what money does allow you to do is change other people's lives. Yeah. And that's a pretty cool thing to be able to do.
Well, man, even you coming on this podcast and having a really open conversation, I'm grateful for. And I know there'll be a lot of people listening that might take those little golden nuggets into their own life. So I am really grateful for having
it's wholesome.
On, dude.
Is that the word? That's the word, isn't it? I feel very wholesome today.
It's very wholesome. Dude, before we wrap things up, what are you excited about? What's coming up that you're really looking forward to?
Do you know what? I love boxing.
Yeah.
So like, I have such a huge passion for the sport, all sport, but boxing particularly. So, you know, we got like being able to travel with work and take that sport around the world is a big part of what we do. We're really the only global promotional company in the world. So like having the opportunity to come and do 7 shows a year with Fox in Australia. Yeah. Well, look at this. I mean, like, I'm just from the UK. So, but also because the boxers here, boxing's not like this in Australia. They're not spoiled. They're very grateful. And it's a great feeling to come and where people actually say, thank you. You know, like I work in the UK and America. Most people say, where's my money? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Over here, of course, that's important to people, but it's like, thank you for the opportunity. And you've got some great fighters here. So I'm looking to really, a legacy for me would actually be to make boxing a real prominent sport in this country, because you've got the talent to do it, and you guys are just like us. You like live sport, you like a beer, you like a good night out. It ain't rocket science. Do you know what I mean? And boxing can deliver that. So that's the passion, and just enjoying what I do week in, week out.
Who you got your eye on? Is anyone exciting?
Yeah, Teremoana. Like the heavyweight division is the flagship, right? So it's the division that the casual fans can embrace. Big guys who could knock you out. Yeah. And this guy, Teremoana, he's 6'7". He looks like Samson, right? He's got long hair that he doesn't cut. Like he's from the Cook Islands. He does like this hacker every time he wins. He punches like a mule. He's got skill. And I think he can bring world heavyweight championships to Australia.
Wow.
And if you do that's the kind of thing that will change the sport forever. So keep your eyes on him. He's a real star.
Well, I'm excited to see this unfold for you here in Australia. And mate, very happy to have you here on the Gold Coast.
Thanks for having me on.
Come back anytime. Very grateful.
Cheers, mate. Good luck.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.